Clearly, our education system as a state, in West Virginia in particular, our state constitution is very clear that the state is going to provide for an effective and efficient, a thorough and efficient education system. It's a little bit of a misnomer to say that we don't invest in education, though. We actually rank in the top 50% of the state. So when you consider that we are typically ranked as the second or third poorest state in the country, and yet we're in the top half in terms of funding. We spend $11,500 per student, and that puts us near the top. The problem that we have is the money is not getting into the classroom. So when we deal with questions like teacher pay and other school service personnel pay, the problem is we're paying for it, we're just not getting it. And a lot of that has to do with the bureaucracy in Charleston. Some of it has to do with bad decisions made years ago, so some of that money is diverted in order to bring our teachers' retirement system up to snuff where it should be. But in the end, it's not how much we're investing in education, it's how much money is actually getting into the classroom. And we need to do what we can to make sure more of that money gets into the classroom. I constantly talk about more local control, pushing that money down to the classroom, down to the county level at the very least, and into the classroom. When you consider that the average class, and I realize that this is not the true number, but the average classroom in West Virginia has about 15 students. We're spending $200,000 per year almost per classroom, and yet no teacher is making anywhere near that much money. I think we all recognize that. So perhaps those teachers are averaging, with benefits and everything, $60,000 a year. Where's the other $140,000 going is the question we have to answer. And so when we did things like getting rid of recess, part of that was cutting those expenses, bringing the cost down. There's so many personnel in Charleston compared to other states that we really have an enormous bureaucracy that's sucking up a lot of money that we need to bring down to the classroom.
Okay, same question to Ms. Fish.
Thank you. I agree with Senator Carnes that there is waste in government, and I agree because I've seen it, because I worked in state government for 3 years. However, I think that what's more crucial to this conversation is how budget cuts would affect children, and particularly when our teachers are demanding better pay and they deserve better pay. We want to be certain that that better pay received by teachers is not affecting children. I think that the greatest challenge facing education is poverty. And my mother's a teacher, retired now, but in discussions with her as well as other teachers that I know, school for many of these children is the only safe place they get to be. And when we cut benefits to families out of our contempt for freeloaders, we are hurting these children most. The state government that I want to help build is one where we invest in these children everything that we possibly can. And let's do that for one generation. And let's see that children come to school well-fed and clean and well-rested and ready to learn. And I think part of that is we have to invest in social workers to address concerns that teachers have for their students. So I think that there's a lot more investment that needs to be made, both in education as well as in our government. And I hate wasting government because I know that that government needs to be there for the people who need it most. And I hope as your legislator to be able to make positive changes to that end.